everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel Rather Be Reading, and today I'm bringing to you my January TBR. It is the first TBR of the year. I'm excited, love January reading, just like to cram. I feel like I always have a pretty good reading month in January because I'm just like so pumped and excited for like the new year of reading. So let's jump straight in and talk about all of the books that I want to get read this month for the first month of 2020. So, library books. I have 3 library books that are due back this month, in the month of January. All 3 of them were ones that were on my TBR for December that I didn't get to because I was trying to get ahead in December, which I did. I got through a lot of books that would have been due this month if I hadn't read them last month. So I've just got the 3 that are still due that I didn't get to last month. So the first of those is A Million Worlds with You by Claudia Gray. This is the 3rd and final book in the Firebird trilogy, which is a YA sci-fi trilogy that involves, in the first book, a technology has been stolen that the main character's father and mother basically created that means that you can jump between different realities, alternate universes. You jump into the body of yourself in this alternate reality. Some of the parallel universes are very similar to ours with just minor differences. Some of them are completely different, and it's basically a race through, not a race, but like a journey through these different universes trying to get back the technology, and it all gets very complicated. I've been really enjoying this trilogy, so looking forward to finishing it and reading this final book in the trilogy. The next one I have is Enticed by Jessica Shervington. This is the 2nd book in the, I think this series is called something like the Violet Eden series. The first book was Embrace. And I didn't love that book, but I wanted to give at least the 2nd one a go and then see how I felt and whether I wanted to continue, because this is like a 5 or 6 book series. Having said that, I remember very little about the first book and I only read it a couple of months ago. Oh yeah, she's part angel. I didn't even remember that it was an angel thing. Yeah, she's part angel. That's what the first book is about. It's very like tropey, kind of early mid-2000s type of read. Like I said, I didn't love the first one, but I'm going to give this one a go and see if this pulls me in. If this doesn't and I don't enjoy this, then I probably won't continue with the series, but I am going to give this one a go. And then the final book that I have from the library that's due back this month is my next classic that I'm hoping to pick up, which is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. Really pumped to read this. I really don't know what this is about, except that it gets compared to Pride and Prejudice. It is a chunkier book. It's not hugely long. It's just over 500 pages, but it is obviously a classic, so it's quite, I assume this is going to be like a little bit denser of reading, but I think I'm really going to enjoy this, so really looking forward to getting to that one. So they're the library books. Now onto the books from my physical TBR that I'm hoping to get to this month. The first thing that I have is the Trill trilogy by Amanda Hocking. So this, I have the bind up edition. This has all 3 books in it. So the books are Switched, Torn, and Ascend. Not gonna lie, I bought this on a whim a couple of years ago and I had very little memory of what this was about. Well, I don't even think I knew what it was about when I bought it. I just was kind of like, I think I saw this on a really cheap deal and I was like, it's the whole trilogy, just grab it. Turns out it's like YA paranormal kind of. The main character basically discovers that she's a troll princess, like a changeling type of troll princess. Like the trolls swapped her out for a human child when she was a baby, so she grew up with humans, but now is, coming of age, and the trolls want her back because that's a thing. I am currently reading this. This is my first read. The first book of this is my first read of 2020, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not loving it so far, but we'll see. I'm not finished with it yet. So yeah, I've got the entire trilogy of this that I'm hoping, I think there's also a couple of novellas in here, I'm not sure, but I've got the entire series of this that I'm hoping to get to this month. And then I have Night Film by Marisha Pessl. Really pumped to get to this one. This is one of my 5-star TBR predictions. This is a thriller mystery. I know it follows I think it's a male character who is investigating the death of a, sorry, what, a male, did I just say investigator? He's a journalist, I think, who is investigating the death of like a famous movie director's daughter. I think it's like a Hitchcockian style director. Sorry, I'm just looking. Winnie looked like she was about to jump in front of the camera, but she's gone behind instead. Good girl. So it's like a Hitchcockian style director, and I think the death has been ruled a suicide, but he thinks maybe it's not. I've been pumped to read this for so long. It does have some kind of mixed media style stuff in here, I think. But really, really looking forward to getting to this because I've wanted to read this for a really, really long time. Now we come to a bit of the fun part of my TBR. So slight spoilers for my 2020 goals video, which will be coming out later this month. I am participating once again in the Around the Year in 52 Books challenge. And every year I kind of go through the challenges because I don't do it on a week-by-week basis. I just check off all of the challenges throughout the year. And I always kind of go through and write out a tentative TBR for it. Just basically figuring out what books from my own TBR, physical TBR that I own, will check off challenges so that I know if there are any really tricky ones that I don't own anything that are going to complete. And this year I decided to, any challenge, that the book that I know that I have that works for that challenge that is further down my TBR, that I wouldn't get to naturally probably within the next year, because if you don't know, I read the books off my physical TBR in chronological order based on when I acquired the book. That if it didn't seem like a book that I was going to naturally get to in 2020, that I have put them into my TBR teacup, I guess, because I don't own any jars, so I've put them in this teacup, and I'm going to pull one out each month. I'm trying to get to it that month so that when it comes to the end of the year, I don't have a heap of books that I'm trying to frantically read to catch up on. Now, it may be the case that I pull one out and it turns out that I've managed to already read something to check off that challenge. If that's the case, I'll just redraw. I mean, that shouldn't be the case for January because I haven't checked off any challenges yet, but as we go throughout the year, I may pull one out and then go, oh no, I already managed to slot something in for that. I don't need to jump ahead to that book on my TBR, and I'll just pick something else. That was really long-winded a really long-winded explanation. So let's pick. I'm so excited for this. I wanted to find a way to get some kind of TBR jar or teacup into my TBRs for 2020 because I just adore watching people pick books out of a TBR jar. So really excited, and I've just been literally thinking about this for days, about how excited I am to pull one out of this cup. So let's do it. I just got them all mixed up. All right, let's go for this one. What is it? So it's Still Alice by Lisa Genova. This is so ridiculous. So the prompt for this one was a book with a neurodiverse character. I actually will have to redraw. I cannot believe that this is the one that I picked out because I realized that one of the books, audiobooks that I have for this month, which I've actually already started, which we'll get into later in my TBR, has a neurodiverse character, so I don't need to jump ahead to this one. Literally, it's the only one in this entire cup that if I pulled out, and there are like 18, I think, in this cup, that I would have needed to redraw, and of course, that's the one that I picked. But yeah, Still Alice by Lisa Genova. Let's redraw. What an anticlimax. I cannot believe that that's the one that came out. Okay, let's retry. Why do I fold these up so small? I don't know why I do that. Okay, we have The Graces by Law Eve. So the prompt for this one, I just dropped it. The prompt for this one was a book related to witches, which is a fantastic prompt because I freaking love me some witchy reads. So I don't really know too much about what this one is about. I think it's at YA. I know it's YA. It's YA. I think it's about a girl who moves to a new town and a new school, and there's this group of girls that are like rumored to be witches. The synopsis gives me real The Craft vibes, which I'm very into. I know there's a sequel and I only own the first book, but if I really like the first book, I can get the second one probably from my library. So that is one that I'm going to be grabbing off my shelf and trying to get to this month so I can check off this prompt. There we have it. Okay, so they're the physical TBR books. I've got the trilogy. Sorry, a piece of paper just got stuck to my hand. The trilogy and Night Film, and then The Graces from my TBR teacup. Okay. Moving on to my ebooks that I want to get to this month. So I have one NetGalley read that I want to pick up this month. That is The Leaving Party by, is it Leslie Sanderson? Leslie Sanderson. This is a January 2020 release. I believe it is released on the 31st of January. So I want to get to it this month because it is being published this month. This is a adult thriller. The synopsis is kind of vague, which I like. It's basically about a girl who, it references that a woman, that she has been on the anniversary every year. Someone sends her a black rose, which like brings everything back up again, but it doesn't tell you like what the anniversary of what. Don't know. And that she is leaving. She is kind of, her and her boyfriend are moving away, and she is looking forward to kind of fleeing and getting away from everything that's like going on. But there's all this stuff happening, sinister stuff, and there's a party that gets put on, like a going away or leaving party, as the title would suggest. And all of the people at the party are like kind of the people that she's trying to run from. I don't really know too much about from that. It sounds very like sinister, which I'm very, very into. And I like that it's like a party of like people from past coming together. I love that type of shit in my thrillers. So that is the NetGalley read. And then I have 2 Kindle backlist books, so like old books from my Kindle. Like, these must be really old because I actually went back in my Amazon purchases as far back as it would let me go to see when I purchased these, and it let me go all the way back to 2018 and they weren't listed. So I purchased these pre-2018. I would say probably in 2017, but who knows? So the first one I have is Hunted by Megan Spooner. This is, all I know about this is that it's a YA Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't know too much about it apart from that, but it got pretty good reviews when it came out from what I recall. And it's a standalone from what I understand, so looking forward to getting to that. And then the other Kindle backlist book that I have is Silent Child by Sarah A. Denzel. This is another thriller. This one is about a woman whose son so there was like a flood or something, and her son left the school. I think he was like only young, he was like 6 or something, and he left the school and got swept away in the flood and drowned, but his body was never found. And then it's 10 years later and her son has come back. Lo and behold, her son didn't drown, he was taken, and she doesn't know like what's happened to him for the past 10 years. And it's about her, I think maybe he doesn't talk. The title would lead me to, Silent Child would lead me to believe maybe he's mute when he comes back. And it's about her trying to figure out what has happened to her child since he's been gone. Sounds very interesting from what I recall. That one was getting really good reviews a couple of years ago as well. So really looking forward to getting to that one. So the ebooks. So now just quickly to touch on a couple of the audiobooks that I'm hoping to get to this month as well. So the first one we have is the one that I was just referencing before. It's called The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth. So I've actually started this. I started it today. I had some shopping to do today, so I was at the shops for a while, so I just put my headphones in while I was there and listened to a couple of hours of my audiobook. This is a contemporary story about a woman who has early, I don't think onset's the right word, but it's like early age dementia. So she's only, when she first started getting symptoms, she was only 28. I believe that now she's in like her mid-30s and she has been moved into an assisted living facility. And it's about a romance kind of between her and another young person who's also not, he doesn't got the exact same thing as her, but another form of kind of early onset dementia type of illness, and he's in the facility as well, and they form a romance. But then the synopsis says something about there's some tragic event that comes up that is forced people to tear them apart. I don't really know. I've only listened to a little bit of it so far, but that is the one that will check off the challenge of a neurodiverse character, because Alzheimer's is a neurological disorder. So I'll be able to use that one for that prompt. It's so funny that that's the one prompt that came out. So then another audiobook that I have on hold that I'm pretty sure is going to come in for me to listen to this month is The Near Witch by Victoria Schwab. So this is, I think, maybe Victoria Schwab's like debut book, like one of her very early books. It's a YA fantasy-ish type story, mystery type story. From what I could gather, it was set in like a small town where there are never any strangers or something, but then one day a strange boy turns up, and then around the time that he turns up, kids start going missing. And so he's obviously a suspect, but then he's trying to help the main character find the kids that are going missing and figure out what's going on or something. I don't really know. That's all I know about it, but it sounds intriguing, and I've read a few books by Victoria Schwab. Have I read a few by her, or have I literally just read the Vicious duology? Well, not, I don't know if that's going to be a duology. I've read the 2 books that are out so far from Vicious. Have I read any other Victoria Schwab? I don't think I have. Well, anyway, this will be my next one. And then the other book that I have on hold that I think is going to come off hold this month that I'm hoping to get to is The House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This is a pretty popular, like recent-ish release, like come out in kind of the end part of 2019 that was pretty popular on BookTube. It's a YA fantasy, I believe, that is the 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. Now, I'm not familiar with the 12 Dancing Princesses original fairy tale, but I have read a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling before, so I'm kind of familiar with the story just through that. And I don't know too much about it apart from that it's something to do with that I think they live on an island, and people believe that the family is cursed because these 12 sisters have like slowly been dying off one by one. That sounds kind of creepy, and I've heard pretty good reviews of this. And it sounds like it'll just be like a fun, like creepy, I believe it's like a YA fantasy, but it's a standalone, which I enjoy. So yeah, that is one of the audiobooks that I have. So that's it. Those are the books on my TBR. I will likely get to a lot more than this, hopefully. I mean, how many books was this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 14. That's only 14 books, which would be a very low reading month for me. But I predict that I'll get to probably some more audiobooks, but I'm not sure what they're going to be. I put all of my audiobooks, like I suspended all my holds while I was off work because I knew I wasn't going to be listening to anything. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to be listening to apart from the ones that I've mentioned. And I hopefully will get to some more library books and some more books off my physical TBR than those that I've mentioned. But the ones that I've mentioned are kind of my like priority ones. So that's it. Those are the books on my TBR. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below if you've read any of these books that I'm planning to read and what your thoughts are on them, or what your reading plans are for January. Do you have like all of these crazy reading plans for the year? Are you always really ambitious in the first month of the year? I would love to know. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. That is all I have for this video today. Bye guys.